Hello, good evening. This is Dutchman420 again. How's everybody doing tonight? Just wanted to touch base with everybody tonight again. They got me working on the weekends now, so I can't make as many videos. But just wanted to talk about my new genetics and everything. So, alright, so what I've been doing is, if you notice, these babies are really packing on the weight. I started the ripening flush with these big ones. I counted 7 of them back here that I started right about the 30th of 8:30 I started. If you remember, I made that video and I moved all the plants back here. And what it was, I had salt shit on one side, and then I had fucking nectar plants on the other side. And what I did do is I took some of the shit, I took 7 of them from the back and moved them in here. And I think in my haste I didn't label the date that I moved them back here, but it was just the other day, so I'm gonna have to move everything or crawl through here. And man, I just watered these or just fed these. And I can get reach about all the way to where the trellis is, but when you get back in that corner, man, it really starts to become a pain, especially with these ladybugs in here, because they're all on the plants, and then I'm knocking them all off when I'm crawling through. So, I don't know what to do with them ones back there, man. I wish I had a blue mat or something where I could just put a blue mat on there. You still gotta fill up the little cup for the blue mat, though. I guess you could put like a tank. But these ladybugs are coming right along, man. I've used these before, like I said in the last video, and they work pretty good, man. They look like they're not really doing much, but that's just because they got finished eating a shitload of mites, and then they just kind of lay around in the sun and fucking chill. Plus this trellis works great. It's like a highway for them. But anyway, I did label the ones in here that are coming along later than the ones that I'm doing the flush on, so I can, you know, feed according to time. Like some of these really should take less bone meal than others because they're not as far along as the other ones are. Like some of them I started on the 10th of September, the 12th, you know, the budding stage. And then some of them I started on the 30th. So they are just starting to bud. And then the other ones in the corner back there I just brought back here the other day. But these big, tall, nice ones, man, that are all thick and shit, they're the ones that are going to be done in a week or 2. I think it's going to be the 2nd of the month they're going to be finished. And then, of course, they got to be dried and cured and all that stuff. But that one over there, that sure looks nice. I'm really trying to get them. I also was thinking about something the other day where if I did get those longites, they are mites. And mites are teeny, so they would get caught in the trichome. So they probably would not be good to use during the budding stage when they're this far along. Now the ladybugs, on the other hand, are nice and big, so they won't get stuck in the trichome field like Ralph. So the ladybugs are probably the best choice for this far along in the budding stage to use them. But the longites are probably ideal to use during the vegetative stage. Now you want to see a nice example of a potassium deficiency, check out that. See how the leaf has all the green in the center and the edges are just yellow? That is a perfect example of a potassium deficiency. Now, a magnesium deficiency is tiger striping, but a potassium deficiency is that fucking triangular green shape. There's another one over there that's a little bit further along. Same with that. It's almost like a border of yellow around the edge of the leaf. And that is just because this is the final weeks of the plant's life. So all the chlorophyll is starting to drain out of the plant. and go up into the nugs and everything. And the usefulness of these is over with. It is ripening time, you know what I mean? These nugs are time to get ripe. And hopefully these mites will eat a lot, or these ladybugs will eat a lot of these mites off of here, and I won't have to fucking worry too much about infestation. And now, of course, like I said, once this shit's gone, like I said, I moved the shit out of the back, and I got the 2 new arrivals, the 2 green cracks from seed, and all. I'm pretty sure I'm thinking about just chopping down all the rest of this shit. I don't know. But I do have a little bit of a gripe about Oregon Elite Seeds. I am still waiting. I ordered it on the 12th. And the other night I went to use my credit card, right? And I noticed, man, I got declined. So I went and looked, and they had went ahead and charged the card. And I'm talking, this is on the 4 or 5 days after I bought them. But every time I checked them, they kept saying processing, right? So what they do is they don't charge your credit card till they actually fill your order with the seeds. And I guess they got to get the seeds from the breeder and such. So it kind of took me for a loop where I had the money to buy the seeds on Saturday because I just got paid Friday. You know what I mean? I'm not rich or anything. And the seeds are like $100 with shipping and everything. $80 for the Glucky Breath, and then $15 for shipping. You can get $10 shipping, which is just priority mail, or you can get the 1 to 3 day shipping, which is $15 for $5 more. So I opted for that. And you know what? I ain't in no hurry for this shit. It just would have been nice to just get charged immediately when you buy them. And then just wait, you know what I mean? That's all. It just kind of pissed me off that I almost bounced the fucking check. Luckily, my bank doesn't do that for me. They kind of cut me some slack because I deposit money on a nightly basis there. So, look at my one buddy, he's like, who uses the ATM anymore? I'm like, I do, because I deposit cash into it on a nightly basis, so I'm in a service job, you know, and I'm sure you can figure out fucking where I work. There's only 5,000 motherfucking stores in the country, or throughout the world. But, anyway. Other than that, man, I don't really have any gripes with Oregon Elite Seeds, man. Like I was thinking, I'm like, I don't need this shit that fast. But Crop King, if you need your shit in like a day, fucking Crop King's your dudes, man, because they fucking ship it like lightning fast. But I ain't, like I said, I'm in no hurry. I really kind of, after I ordered it, kind of was like, man, I shouldn't have probably ordered these. I should probably have waited and just finished this up. But I'd like to get them started, and I can't wait to get them going, you know what I mean? And the thing is, they're regular seeds, so they're going to be males coming up. And man, I don't want to kill any of the males, man. What I might do is cross one of the males with a Durban poison and see what I get out of it. Because I was looking at it in the lineage, there's Durban poison in it. But I really know nothing about breeding, so I don't know if it would be a good cross with the Durban poison. I'll have to check to see if that was the father or the mother, but this time the father, it'll be the mother, because I only have female Durban poison. And I can cross that with the Glucky Breath, which is like Do-Si-Do crossed with Mendo Breath. And Mendo Breath is Studley Spewright, which is like Chem Dog and the Crystal Locomotive crossed with like freaking Durban poison. Everything boils back down to skunk and freaking Durban poison, and there's a couple other ones. So really all these strains are just everything crossed by everything else crossed by everything else crossed, you know what I mean? It's pretty amazing shit. It's come a long way from the old days of the Colombian, man. And them cartel guys, they didn't give a fuck, man. You know what I mean? They just let the shit fuck itself and the seeds. That we were gonna pay the money anyway, man. It was the only place to get weed back then. You know what I mean? It was this brown brick weed. It had like this musty smell to it, probably because it had mold on it. And what it was, they press it before it was properly dried into bricks, so they could smuggle more across the border. You know what I mean? And then it would sit in a warehouse in the dark, hidden, because it's so illegal. If you got caught with it, they'd chop your arm off. You know what I mean? That's how it felt back then. I remember I got caught with like a joint or something, and it was like 2 years and $2,000 fine. They called it controlled dangerous substances. And one of my friends got busted at a Grateful Dead concert smoking a joint. And they were on top of fucking the stadium with telescopes watching people in the parking lot. And then radioing down to the police on foot down in the parking lot for somebody smoking a joint. Talk about a waste of fucking cash from taxpayer money and manpower. Meanwhile, around the corner, somebody's peddling heroin, you know what I mean? And they're busting deadheads smoking a joint. Give me a fucking break, man. But, yeah, these things are definitely coming along. They are getting nice and packed, and the buds are getting tight and hard. And, like I said, I had to trellis these things up. So they look pretty good. They're holding, and it definitely helps with the ladybugs for some transportation. However, it does look like these are social bugs or something, where they kind of hang out in groups. Where it's like you gotta kind of, like I said last night, you gotta kind of crack the whip on them, you know what I mean? Plus, I did notice up here some of that shit fell down, the tape. And what they do, they hit the ceiling and then they crawl across, and they probably half of them went up in the attic. Like, look at this poor guy, he's trapped up there and shit. So what I do is I let him build up, and then I cut a hole through and drain them out, and then put a piece of tape to patch the hole. Another thing I noticed is that I am too fucking nice, because wherever I walk, if I fucking step on one or something, I feel really guilty and shit. And if I see one laying on its back with its legs up in the air, dangling around, and he can't flip over and shit, I try to help him. And I end up here for hours trying to help like bugs, man. You know what I mean, man? Yeah. That's my problem in life. I am just too fucking nice. People can mistake kindness for weakness, man. You know what I mean? And, I learned about all that shit real quick when I was living on the street. Come a long way from where I was, man. I just had to put that bottle of alcohol down, you know what I mean? That's all I'm gonna say about that shit. This stuff is much better for you, and it is definitely, without cannabis, I'd probably be dead. I'd probably have drank, with the circumstances that put me in, I would have ended up dead. Cannabis changed all that for me. Plus it helps with pain, with my arthritis and other ailments that I have. I don't know what I'd do without this shit, man. And it's funny, I was thinking about something, man. Why did Anslinger have a hard-on for weed so bad, man? Who paid that man, you know what I mean? The alcohol industry? Probably Al fucking Capone. But for whatever reason, in 1937, they made the tax stamp and made cannabis illegal. Even the way they made the shit illegal was illegal. A total constitution fuck, you know what I mean? Look it up. They totally entrapped you. What it did is law-abiding citizens ended up in jail. And, that shit ain't right, man. But anyway, just wanted a little update. When I do get the seeds, I'll make a video on that one too. But I am in the Aphrodites and Herculean harvest flush time for these late ones, and then the rest of them are still getting the bone meal pumped into them. And the ones that I just brought back just get a teaspoon of bone meal till they start showing a little bit of signs of Noggin. I'm gonna try that. Another thing I am gonna try to do is cut down the amount of newts that I'm using. Like I was thinking, Aphrodite, Medusa's Magic and Gaia Mania are basically the same fucking thing. Medusa's Magic is your grow formula, and Gaia Mania is your nug formula, your bloom. Because you don't need as much nitrogen in bloom. But in the schedule, they have you using both of these bitches, man. A teaspoon of each, and then it goes up to 2 teaspoons of each, so it's 10 milliliters of each of these. And for a little while, I was pumping a tablespoon. So I was doing 15 of each. And I started thinking about it, and I was reading about it. A lot of people cut out the Medusa in like the 5th week of flower to cut the nitrogen out. And it depends, I think, with the cookie strains and shit. You're supposed to do that. I'll have to do some more research. But if you think about it, if you just did like a tablespoon of the Gaia, man, you could probably get away with not even using Medusas, man. And they say if you don't like the Medusas because it has that nitrate chemical that they use to stabilize this shit, you can substitute the Gaia for it. This is the stuff that they make out of the chicken livers and shit. Good stuff, man. But I mean, if you want a standalone fertilizer, Gaia Mania is your shit, man. This is the stuff that Frank came up with as the standalone fertilizer for Oregons only. See, Oregon's only down at the bottom. That's what they still call themselves, and they just make nectar for the gods. Another thing I discovered is there's a beer out there, some liquor that's called Nectar of the Gods. And that's why they probably can't use the name, even though it's a better name, and of course it's for some booze company, you know what I mean? But, there's some of the shit from that I grew. It's really actually not even cured yet. This is some of that salt plant that I flushed with the Herc and everything. And dude, you can see how fluffy and light these nugs are. And look at this nug. And that shit is fucking packed and hard as a rock, man. So, I mean, I started pumping the last week. Last week, I was doing 60 milliliters of bone meal. So that's like 4 tablespoons per gallon of water. The shit was like a milkshake, man. But, you grow nugs like this. And that thing is fat around like fucking like, I don't know, look at it. I was gonna say it's like a fucking hot dog in the bun, probably fat. And that shit won't shrink, man. Just think of that. These nugs are not gonna shrink down when they dry. They're going to stay the same size as they build. And that is a huge advantage. That's another thing I was thinking of, is probably this stuff will last me a lot longer too than the salt newt ones, man, where I won't have to grow quite as much. Because this is an inconvenience to have all these plants, man. Plus it is expensive as shit to fucking use all these newts. But, on that note, live and learn, my friends. Live and learn. So, I will keep everybody informed on how everything's going. Thank you, everybody, the new subscribers on the WeedTube and on the YouTube. I think I'm up to 78 on the WeedTube and like 58 or something on YouTube. I'll have to check. I get about 75 views a day on my different assorted pages. Most of them are the dancing bottles of the Sledgehammer. And then, of course, the old versus new controllers with the T6. That's my most popular video. I think it's got like 2,000 views now or something. But you cannot monetize your channel until you get 1,000 subscribers. That ain't never gonna happen. And I really don't want to monetize my channel anyway, so it doesn't matter. I don't want to make money. It would be nice to get sponsored by like a company. I noticed I found a light, the exact same fucking light as I have, for $360 instead of fucking $585. And it's got the same ballast or the same driver. Oh, it's got the B. That's why it's got the 1750B driver. But other than that, and it is dimmable, but other than that, it's not the same. I think with this one, you can drive it up to like 400 or something on this one. I'll have to check, but there is a difference between the 17, whatever it is, A, and the 1720B, I think it is. 1760, I think it is, or 1750. Oh no, I can't see. But the one that they have is the B version, not the A version. But other than that, it's the same light. It's got the same chips, it's except for the R spec. Same heat sink, same meanwhile driver, and it's half as much money, man. It's really thinking about saving up and getting it and using it for my veg tent, because I am going to set up the tent for the veg now. Another thing I do need is a filter for fresh air intake and also exhaust. But anyway, till next time, this is Dutchman420 saying, keep on growing and smoking.